Welcome everyone to Male Fuzz News. I am Peter and today I'm joined by Connor. This is your Friday edition of the news. Not as much today as the last couple, but...
Oh, I get it easy, do I?
You do get it easy, but you have to do it again tomorrow, so, you know.
God damn
it. But we got a little bit of movie, a little bit of TV. Luckily, because if it was only this amount of things and nothing that was headline-y, I might have just let it roll into the next days. But we did get one headline thing, which is relevant to us and our interests, which is that two of the very, very, very many DC Comics movies that were announced as in development over the past 3-4 years, however long it's been since they've been announcing all these things, have officially been put to bed. Two of them are definitely not happening. They have confirmed that New Gods, which was Ava DuVernay who was working on that is not happening. It's not moving forward. And then the other one, which made me laugh because I forgot it was a thing, and this reminded me it was supposed to exist. But of course, the irony being is that the news is that it's not going to exist. But that is the Aquaman spin-off movie, the horror spin-off movie about the Trench. That's right. For a brief moment in time, the Trench were going to get their own movie.
Yeah, for about 2 weeks when they realised how much shitting money Aquaman made at the cinema, they went, quick, do more. And then realised, actually, people don't care about this.
It's a silly idea, yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Can I just make you really sad about the New Gods news?
Well,
we can, in part, blame the Snyder fans. Legitimately. This is from THR. New Gods, which is going to be a sprawling tale. Apparently, the fact that it would have featured Darkseid so heavily, that is one of the reasons it's not happening now, because obviously Darkseid just appeared in the Snyder Cut. This is the classic Warner Bros. Things of, too many versions at once, we need space, and because that was the first appearance of Darkseid on screens, they were like, no, we don't want to overdo it. So that's part of the reason why we're not getting this.
I mean, I don't know how good or bad this movie would have turned out, but that makes me a little sick in my stomach. I'm not going to lie. That a project, which may have had other legitimate reasons not to happen, but that a project in part got cancelled because that got to exist. That is a little upsetting. I mean, the Trench, I'm not going to say it couldn't have been good, because honestly, if you take an obscure thing from a comic book, and just let's say you take Killer Croc and you just do a horror movie without Batman, you just do a Killer Croc movie where it's not like his story, it's a horror movie about this alligator monster in the sewers and some kids who get stuck in the sewers.
You treat it like a slasher movie almost.
You treat it like a horror movie.
He's the slasher.
I love that idea. Then maybe you just do a little nod to Batman at the end, and that's the Deus Ex Machina that saves the day. But up until the very end, the kids have to survive themselves. They have to hide. They have to run. They have to, do this, do that. I guess so. In a similar vein, an aquatic horror movie about the Trench could have been something, but
there was no reason it would have been a bad movie. It could have been very good. But I definitely understand why they're like, yeah, we don't need this one. We've got enough else going on.
Yes. So, it's kind of an interesting week. I mean, I do at least appreciate this news came after, 1 day after or 2 days after Black Adam got a release date, because at least it showed that, okay, while some are dying, some are actually going into the phase of actually maybe existing now. So it's a nice balance.
I'm way more excited for Black Adam after some of the casting news last week.
I mean, I hope it's good. The recent DC films have not filled me with that much confidence, but
that's fair. I can't really argue with that for the most part.
So I'm not I'm obviously I'd like it to be good, but I'm not going to let myself get remotely excited or hyped until trailer time. I
shouldn't,
at least.
But then here I am excited about a Suicide Squad movie with trailers, which admittedly, at least there's trailers to excite me, but I just can't help myself.
Yeah, so the Suicide Squad got its first trailer the weekend, maybe last Friday, and then because there was actually a theatrical release of sorts for Godzilla vs. King Kong, they put out a separate theatrical trailer And I think the only reason why they probably did this is because the one that went online last weekend was a Red Band trailer, and they wanted something they could put with the PG-13. They did, I would say about half of the trailer is different stuff, though. Not all of it. There is some stuff that's just directly the same, but... I
agree, but I will say even the stuff that is the same, the overall tone of the trailer is cut very differently.
A little bit. There was definitely a couple of moments that I wasn't sure if they were new or if I just missed them on the first because they're so quick. For example, there's a shot of like Nathan Fillion's character and like his arms being separate.
Pretty sure that's new. That shot, yeah. It
was one of those things where it was like such a 2-second thing. I thought maybe I just missed that the first time.
Yes,
but,
that was new.
But yes, and there's one notable scene where there's an F-bomb in the Red Band, but they clearly dubbed or maybe even shot a slightly different take just for the PG-13 trailer to take it out.
I bet they shot a different take just in case they were told they need to tone it down later.
I could see that. That's
just
it,
for
though.
Safety reasons.
I feel like the mannerisms. I mean, unless Idris Elba is just that good of an actor, he everything about the performance was the exact same except it wasn't an F-bomb. Like, I almost want to go back and compare the two moments side by side and see is it the same take just with a bit of dubbing.
Yeah, I'm willing to believe Idris Elba is that good an actor. Frankly,
it's possible. It's very possible.
I agree. It could just be a dub.
Because there was definitely stuff missing as well. Because there was a whole thing in the first trailer about they're going to save Harley, and then there's a joke where she's already kind of like fought her way out of the situation.
That's not in this one.
That's not in the second one, no. But still hype for King Shark, still hype for Starro, and I appreciate the joke at the end with Peacemaker, which was I don't know, I worship peace, and I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill. I will get peace at all costs.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much I like this Peacemaker, and has me excited for the TV show they're doing, because I'm like, between that line there, and there was something in the first trailer. It was the eating all the dicks stuff in the first trailer, where it's delivered with just the right amount of stupidity and lack of self-awareness sort of thing, to it, where it's kind of deadpan, where I'm like, no, I'm into this. I can see the potential here, because I was pretty on the record of being like, I don't need this as a TV show, but now I'm like, you know what, I could go for it.
Yeah. So it's cool. All right, so moving on to some other stuff then. One more movie tidbit here is that Steven Yeun, who of course has just been nominated for an Oscar for Minari, he's actually going towards his next project, which is actually the Jordan Peele film that's upcoming, which is going to be directed and written by Peele. It seemingly is going to be some kind of horror thriller. But as with Peele's last project, in fact, maybe his last two, Get Out, I don't know if Get Out was so secretive because he wasn't a proven thing yet, so he didn't have to be secretive about it.
I think it was more just no one was paying attention.
Yeah. Whereas with us, it was like, no, they're going to be very secretive. Then here again, like, they're not telling us anything. Kiki Palmer's already in the film, who I believe, if I'm thinking this is the actress I think it is, I think she was on Scream Queens.
She was, yeah. She was in the first season.
Yes.
At least.
She was in that because remember, she came back, but the main one didn't, and that was what was funny.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because the dad showed up eventually. It's like what? She didn't come back, but her dad did. Remember,
right. It's been a while, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yes, Scream Queen season 1 and 2, the best thing on Disney Plus. So
hard to argue with that. If I'm being completely honest with you.
So no, that's good. I mean, Yun's always an actor that I've liked. I gave up on Walking Dead fairly early on, but
I gave up even earlier than you, but he was fine in that.
Yeah, and I watched last year. I saw Mayhem for the first time, which I didn't love, but like him and Samara Weaving were doing everything they could. They were having fun with the roles, like so.
She's another one that's kind of in that period of getting noticed now, isn't she? Yeah,
but she is building a bit of a reputation as a sort of a Scream Queen, as it were. I'm not just saying that because I brought up Scream Queens a couple of minutes ago. I'm as an actual thing.
No, I'm pretty sure there's some project that she's taken that's not in that wheelhouse that will probably propel her a bit more mainstream. Probably,
but so far, Babysitter, Ready or Not, she's got a few of those. Even Mayhem to an extent is kind of a horror movie, but so there you go. That is neat. So. Moving on to some TV stuff now. First up, Rose McIver, who we are fans of, at least an iZombie. So she is in a new show from CBS
Oh man, do I need to get the booze out already?
A single camera comedy has been ordered by CBS, starring Rose McIver and Ukrish Ambukar. Apologies if I butcher his name. So, yeah, it's based off a British series of the same name, apparently.
What was the name?
That's a good question.
It's possible you read it already and I forgot it, but I don't remember.
Oh, Ghosts. It's called Ghosts. Yeah, for some reason I glossed over I literally read the sentence where it's in, and I just glossed over the title.
Okay. I don't think you said that out loud.
Yeah, no, because it says CBS has picked up a series, Ghosts, a single camera comedy, and I said everything else in that sentence. I just glossed over the name.
Yeah, the name is familiar, but also it's such a generic name that maybe I'm just projecting.
Yeah. The pilot was greenlit a while ago. It was shot in December. It picked up. It was something that was in the works, but got delayed because pandemic and whatnot. So Ghost follows a struggling young couple, Samantha and Jay, played by the two names, whose dreams come true when they inherit a beautiful country house, only to find it's both falling apart and inhabited by many of the deceased previous residents. So this is a comedy, just to remind you that this is a single camera half-hour comedy. So I mean, I could see why that has a lot of potential.
I can see the potential. You have a different ghost every week for the first little while.
Rose McIver just can't get away from dead people, apparently.
Apparently not.
So, yes.
I think as much as we've only really seen her in that one show, the whole point of that show was showing how much range she had.
Oh, she was exceptional in that show.
Yeah, so
exceptional.
Because she has showed so much range in doing so many different things in that one show, I'm like, you can kind of give me any description, and I'll be like, yeah, she can probably play that.
Yeah. So, honestly, it's just being on CBS that puts my damper on my enthusiasm.
Their comedies tend not to be as dull as their procedural dramas.
No, they just tend to be a bit more generic. I mean, admittedly, this one has a bit more of a concept to it. I can't remember, though, the last time I liked a CBS sitcom. It's been a while.
The one with the kid in the wheelchair, was that not a CBS one?
Nah, it was ABC. You're thinking of was it Speechless? Was that the name of it?
It might be, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. That was ABC.
I think the last one I went, then there was one about a family. I can't remember the name of it, but the idea was, no. This is very specific here, where each episode was split into 4, and each 5-minute chunk followed one of the family members.
Okay, I don't know it, but sure.
Yeah. I watched the first season of that. That was pretty solid. But that's why I say it's about. I know that describes so many sitcoms, but this was pretty specific. And that was all right from what I watched.
Yeah, I saw this great sitcom once. It was in a workplace.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it, but it was in a workplace. If anyone could figure out what their sitcom was, that was in a workplace.
Mine was enough there that I'm sure there are people who know what show I'm talking about. God, you're such a dick.
So, and then last thing here then, this is it. No quick news today. But SyFy was celebrating April Fools with an all-day marathon of the Child's Play franchise. But of course, this is relevant to something that's coming up because they're doing the Chucky show. This is the in-continuity stuff with Don Mancini writing, and I think he's even directing the first episode, because he shared on Twitter basically the title of the first episode and confirmed that it's coming this fall, which is kind of the real news here.
And this was definitely not an April Fool.
No. I think that's kind of the joke, is that it's Chucky. So
I suspect that is part of why this is a light news day, is that no one wants to announce anything on April Fools.
Yeah, maybe that is it. Maybe no one believes anything. But anyway, so unless things change, which is that's the wording here. This is on Bloody Disgusting. The wording here is unless things change. So even they're being careful in case it's an April Fool's thing.
Yeah.
But episode 1 is apparently called Death by Misadventure, which sounds very Chucky-esque, so I don't see any reason to doubt it. But yes. Also, bizarrely, I just happened to see on Twitter Jennifer Tilly, who of course is involved in all this, because it's 20 years, or no, it's more than that, 25 years now? Yeah, 25 years since Bride. No, it was 1998. I don't know, maybe it's because of the marathon in SyFy. I don't know. But anyway, it was related to the fact that it was Chucky Day or whatever today. She says, "Oh, here's a photo of me getting ready for the fake tattoo," and it was her just in a makeup trailer, topless. I mean, she was covering her.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah,
someone retweeted it, being like, "Hey, topless."
It was a very erotic image. She's like, "Hey, you're welcome." I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine." But yes, so that is the other related Chucky thing from today. In case anyone wanted any more Chucky goodness. So yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is in continuity. It's from the creator who's written all of the original movies, and it's coming.
There's no reason to assume that if you're a fan of those movies, you wouldn't be a fan of this show.
Yeah, and it's Nick Antosa, who worked on the Channel Zero show, who's like sort of working alongside him for this. That's not a bad thing to hear, to be honest. Cast includes Brad Dourif, who's of course the voice of Chucky, Fiona Dourif, who was introduced in the last 2 movies, which is, and obviously real life, obviously related to Brad, but that's how she got her foot in the door, I assume. But Jennifer Tilly's in there, and Devon Sawa is also in the show. Another sort of name from horror from the late 90s, who was never related to Chucky, I don't think. He wasn't in Bride of Chucky, I don't think he was.
Despite knowing like the general outline of Chucky and the history in general, I have never watched a Chucky film. For whatever reason, they've passed me by.
Honestly, I would say 4 out of the 6 of them are actually very much worth watching. Or is it 7? I think maybe 7 actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
Maybe I'll make that my project this October.
Yeah, because there's 4 of Chucky films. So I'd say 1 solid. I really like 2. I think 2 is my favorite. It's the most fun. 3 is perfectly watchable, but it's not. I mean, the most interesting thing about 3 though is that the second Jimmy Olsen from Lois and Clark is the main character in 3.
Oh God, doesn't give me high hopes. Not like anything wrong with him, but if that's the most interesting thing about that movie,
yeah, it's not a super interesting one. And then Bride of Chucky is a different kind of flavor, but it's fun. Seed of Chucky is probably the worst one, and then Curse is an interesting attempt to make it a bit more serious again. And then Cult was a sort of follow up to that, which kind of embraced the seriousness of, but also kind of introduced some wacky concepts as it went on.
I remember people thinking that one was decent.
Yeah, so I saw it was 5. I guess it's 5 solid entries.
5 out of 7. I mean, in horror franchises, it's pretty good.
I think the most impressive part is that it kind of swung back round after the worst one and sort of resuscitated itself, and
it kind of realized where it went and course corrected rather than just being like, well, I guess we're shit now.
And they started doing this thing where they started doing like post credit scenes that kept bringing like characters back from the earlier movies. They're like, whoa, they're bringing this character back. I won't say any more than that. I'll let people find out for themselves if they've not seen it. But the last 2 Chucky movies did have post credit scenes that are worth your time.
Well, I think I'll make that my October franchise this year, because I tend to kind of pick a franchise each year and kind of barrel through them.
It doesn't really belong.
Leprechaun.
It doesn't really belong with the franchise, but the remake was actually a decent enough movie on its own.
I'll probably include that in when I say I do the franchise. I'll probably just include that.
But yeah, so there you go. That is the news today. That is the Friday edition. So if there's enough for a Saturday edition, you'll see that tomorrow. But thank you very much for joining us. You can let us know what you thought of these stories in the comments below. Like and subscribe is the easiest way to support everything we do on YouTube. It'll help YouTube share us out more. The dreaded YouTube algorithm that you've probably heard other YouTubers talk about. You can also support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your troubles. Otherwise, get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. And we will see you next time.